Hello and Jai Sri Ram to all of you. Today we are here to discuss the topic Women Liberation Part 2, and this is the spiritual version of the topic, and today is Mahashivratri. So wishing you all a happy, blessed and auspicious Mahashivratri. May Lord Shiv bless you with Mother Parvati, and may all your wishes be fulfilled by the Lord. So let us start with the topic. With the merciful blessings of Lord Ram and Mother Sita, I start this session. I bow down to my Sadgurudev Yugtulsi Shri Ramkinkarji Upadhyay. If we talk about women liberation in context of Ramcharitmanas, it is a journey from Satiji to Sitaji. Yes, I have written it correctly. It is not from Satiji to Parvatiji, but from Satiji to Sitaji, from cleverness to a purified intellect. Satiji was Lord Shiva's wife as well as the daughter of Daksh Prajapati, who was the most clever. Satiji had inherited the ego born out of cleverness from her father. Shankarji denotes Vishwas or faith, which is beyond any intelligence. I don't mean that it is devoid of intelligence, I am saying that it is beyond any intelligence. Once Lord Shankar went to sage Agast's ashram to listen to Ram Katha with Satiji. Sage Agastya worshipped both and then sung the praises of Lord Ram. Satiji did not listen to any of it, as she thought that when Sage Agastya worshipped them, he was obviously inferior to them, and secondly, she was a pativrata. So why should she listen to some other man's story? On the way back, they saw Lord Ram crying for the missing Sitaji and asking the trees and creepers for the whereabouts of Sitaji. Lord Shiva says, Jai Satchidanand. Satiji is confused. Why is he praising a normal looking prince who in fact is appearing as a lustful man while crying in her separation, that is his wife? She has severe doubt in her mind, and with Shivji's permission, she goes to test Lord Ram. She takes the guise of Sitaji and starts walking in front of Lord Ram as against Sitaji, who always walked behind Lord Ram. Lord Ram decided to demonstrate a part of his infinite might before her and asked with folded hands, what was she doing in the forest of doubt all alone, without faith, that is, without Shankarji? And then he showed her so many visuals of him, Sitaji and Lakshmanji in every direction. She could she could see all the deities and their Shakti or wives, including herself, and all kinds of living beings worshipping the Lord. But in every scene there were exact same forms of Lord Ram, Shri Sitaji and Lakshmanji. Satiji got so dumbstruck that she sat on the path and closed her eyes. But after few moments, when she opened her eyes, there was nothing there. She went back to Lord Shiv, who asked her how did she test the Lord. But she did not tell the truth. Instead, she said that she just offered her pranams by going near to the Lord. Shivji used his omniscient or Sarvagya powers now and saw all that had happened. Due to Satiji still showing deceit and falsehood with suspicion. Shivji did not say anything, but he renounced Sati inwardly. But an Akashvani praised Lord Shiva, saying that who else could take such a big vow other than him? Satiji asked him so many times, even citing the greatness of truth, even when she herself had uttered false words before him. Lord Shiv still doesn't say anything and sits in samadhi. After quite a while, Satiji sees planes flying in the sky and asks Shankarji, who tells her that her father Daksh is organizing a yagya. Satiji is surprised that why no invitation was sent to them. Then Shivji politely explains that Daksh had mistakenly understood that Shivji had disrespected him. Daksh was appointed as Prajapati by Brahma. When he arrived where all the deities were present, everyone in the assembly stood up except Shankarji. Shankarji's clock is not the same as of others. What is others hundreds or thousands of years is a second for Shankarji. So he didn't realize who was appointed Prajapati and when. Daksh's ego was severely hurt that Shankar is my son in law. I have given him my daughter and he is showing disrespect to me. So now he decided to organize a yagya where everybody would be invited except Shankarji to prove that a yagya still can be absolutely fruitful even without Shiv. Even Vishnu and Brahma did not go to that yagya. So, even after hearing all this, Satiji wants to go to her father's place. Shivji tries to hold her back by saying that one can go uninvited to a friend, master, guru, or father's place. But if they harbor adverse emotions, it is not advisable to go there. Still, Satiji was adamant on going, so Lord Shiva sent his Ganas with her. On reaching there, no one spoke to her except her mother. And when she saw that Lord Shankar's share was missing from the yagya, she was shocked and hurt. Now she realized one very big thing, which was actually a hidden cause for all the mistakes she had made in her life. That was the ego born out of utmost intelligence which she had inherited from her father. She realized that there was no other way to get rid of it but to leave the very body that was born out of Daksh. So she gave up her life in the Yagya fire. But before dying, she prayed to Lord Ram to grant her affection and love of Lord Shiv in every birth. In her next birth, she is born at Mountain King Himachal's place. A mountain is made up of rocks. We usually say when a person does not exhibit intelligence that his mind is stoned. It is not working cleverly. Being born to Himachal signifies that Parvati ji is free from the conditioning of cleverness. One fine day, sage Narad ji arrives and tells the parents of Parvati ji, who are namely Himachal, representing staunch resolution, and Mana, depicting intellect, about the future of Parvati ji. He first tells about her good fate and virtues, and then mentions that she will get a groom who had some drawbacks. On listening to them, her parents got really worried. And then Naradji says that if Parvati ji does hard penance, she will have Shankarji as her husband and all ill effects will be resolved. Now Parvati ji starts doing penance, which is hard to describe or even imagine. Two incidents happened in the meantime. Lord Ram goes to Shankarji and requests and orders him to marry Parvati ji. Parvati ji, who was Sati ji in previous birth, had not listened to Ram Katha. But Lord Ram is so merciful that he starts narrating Parvati's character in great detail. Though not willing at all, Lord Shiva agrees to marry Parvati, but then he forgets it later as he is engrossed in remembrance of Lord Ram and acquires Samadhi. The deities then send Kamdev to break Shankarji's Samadhi and create the emotion for marriage in him. Kamdev uses all his might, and by the grace of God and Lord's will, he is successful in breaking Lord Shankar's Samadhi. Lord Shankar is surprised and looks for the one who was behind all this. And then he found Kamdev hiding behind the mango leaves, and he opened his third eye and Kamdev was burned to ashes. Before this event, the Saptarishis had come to Parvati to test her devotion. They spoke against her Guru Narad, made fun of her for doing such severe penance to marry Shankarji, who was the abode of inauspiciousness, and suggested her to marry Lord Vishnu instead, who was handsome and had all appealing virtues and great attire, and that too without doing any penance to attain him. Parvati ji refused, saying that she could never distrust or renounce the order of the Guru and could not stop loving Shankarji even if the latter himself said the same to her, and that it was not wise for the Saptarishis trying to convince the daughter of the mountain to act wisely. When Shankarji burnt Kamdev, the Saptarishis came back to test Parvati's love again and informed her of Kamdev's fate. The fundamental feeling behind a marriage is desire or lust, and they asked if she would still marry Shankarji, to which Parvati ji replied that in her knowledge Shankarji was an eternal yogi and the burning of Kam is not surprising for her. Param Pujya Gurudev Shri Ramkinkarji Upadhyay says that if the desire is burnt and yet the Shraddha or reverence is unchanged, only then it is true reverence. Lord Shankar is full of love for Parvati ji on listening from the Saptarishis and arrangements for the marriage start. But do you think it is as sweet as it sounds? When Shivji was ready with all the snakes, scorpions, ghosts, spirits, skulls, with horrific looks in his wedding procession, Lord Vishnu asked the deities to form separate groups and not mingle with Shiva's people. Shiv himself was dressed as his usual self with tiger skin, snake's skull, ash of cremation ground smeared all over and sat on Nandi the bull. It was a terrifying scene. When the kids went to see the wedding procession or barat, they went to see, sorry, they saw Brahma and his group thinking of him as the groom, but Brahmaji pointed backwards, signaling that the groom is at the back. Then they saw Lord Vishnu, who exactly matched the image of a great groom. The kids were very happy that Parvati had done such great penance for the right groom. But when Vishnuji also pointed backwards, and then when they saw Shivji, they all just ran away, fear struck. When they reached their parents, they said that the groom was a lunatic and no one will stay alive to watch the marriage. The old members of the family smilingly said that such is the procession of Lord Shiv. It is easy to say this in words, but when Shankar comes in his Rudra form, who can withstand it? When Mana with other women goes to welcome Shiva, on seeing him, she blows out the lamps, throws away the arti thal or the lamp plate. She refuses to marry Parvati to such a lunatic and is ready to commit suicide with her instead. Naradji arrives and reveals the true identity of Parvati ji, after which the doubts in the mind of Mana are cleared and the most holy and auspicious marriage takes place. We often claim we have great trust, but when Shiva appears in all his might, the greatest of trusts disappear. When one accepts pain willingly, it is a real penance. But for what? Even Ravan did such hard penance, but could he get faith in his life? A long period of time passed after marriage, with Shivji giving marital bliss to Parvati ji. One day, when Shivji was all alone, Parvati ji came and bowed down before him. She remembered her previous birth as Sati and requested Lord Shiva to narrate Ram Katha to her, which was beneficial for everyone. Shankarji is filled with utmost love for the Lord. He says to Parvati that she was truly blessed and narrates the Ram Katha. Parvati ji always recited Vishnu Sahasranam before having her meal, but one day she was a bit late, and when Lord Shiv asked her to chant Ram, that is Ram Nam, just once, her intellect, which is now adorned with reverence, accepts it. Undoubtedly, she chants Ram with such great faith and reverence, and that is the essence behind Shiva's Ardhanarishwa form. Reverence is the attribute of intellect, while faith is the attribute of heart. When heart and mind become one, when there is no demarcation between Shraddha and Vishwas, they have become inseparable. Now, where is a man and where is a woman? Goswami Tulsidas ji says that even the greatest of yogis cannot see the Lord residing in their hearts unless they have Shraddha, that is reverence, personified by Parvati ji and faith or Vishwas personified by Shankarji. The epitome of this topic, women liberation, is when Lord Krishna plays his flute to call the gopis for Maharas. This is the greatest virtue of having a female form and its biggest attribute of surrendering in love before the Lord Himself. The gopis exactly know who Lord Krishna is. If you are a woman, the only man is Krishna. And if you consider yourself a man, even then there is no problem. Lord Shiva never misses a chance to be a part of his beloved Lord's Leela in whichever incarnation he has taken. He is so expert in changing forms, that is, Lord Shiva is so expert in changing forms just to be with the Lord. Now he cannot enter the Maharas as Shiv. So he takes the female form and enters the Maharas as a gopi. That is why he is worshipped as Gopeshwar Mahadev. To be with the Lord is the ultimate liberation, whether you are a man or a woman. The climax is still more awesome. Sita ji, who is the bestower of purified intellect or Nirmal Mati, comes to pray in the temple of Parvati ji before and after she had the darshan of Lord Ram. Now Parvati ji blesses her to have Lord Ram as her husband. From Sati ji to Sita ji, this narrative has such deep meanings. Our doubtful intelligence pops up and asks, the sequence of events does not seem right. Know that you are with Sati ji and it is a long journey. There is no shortcut. So Sati ji did not hear the Ram Katha, but Parvati ji, it is said that it was Lord Shiva who had composed the Ramcharit Manas. He is the